What's good? Good Sunday evening to you, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, this is the Kendrick Sports Hustle Sports Report. I am Kendrick. That's SportsHustle. What's good, ladies and gentlemen? I'm gonna see if I get a couple of people in here. We're talking NCAA men's selection show, and it's the Oscars tonight as well. But the NCAA men's 2023 March Madness, the selection show is done. We got the number one seeds and we got all the teams. We getting ready to get this March Madness jumped off. I hope everyone is ready to do their brackets. You know, this is with a time where you in your workplace and you got everybody that's ready to do their thing. So NCAA men's tournament is fantastic. I stole something from the NBA when it was on NBC years ago, if you remember that. The NBA is fantastic. The NCAA men's tournament is going to be wide open, in my opinion, and I think that's a great thing. It's not in my opinion, it's not a dominant team. It's not one team that really just stands out over another. I think this is going to be one of those tournaments where I wouldn't be shocked if a double seed, a 10 or 11 or 12 seed end up in the Final Four and winning it. I wouldn't be surprised. It wouldn't shock me because of the college basketball landscape now with the one and done and with the transfer portal and the NIL. It has changed the way the men's basketball tournament and even the women's basketball tournament as well, how it goes. So I wouldn't be shocked to see a 13 or 14 seed somehow sneak into that Final Four, which will take place in Houston, Texas. So I'd like to know your thoughts on that. Make sure you drop a comment. Let me know who you got, what your brackets are. You doing an office pool? You doing your and I know you're doing it because everybody does it every year. So so this would be that one year where you can probably really put in one of the most outlandish teams that's probably going to win or have a chance to win, because I don't think there's one team that's like a dominant team, in my opinion. That's just me. I think it's wide open. I think anybody has a shot at getting it. So again, the NCAA men's tournament will kick off with the playing games on Tuesday. And then the first round will kick off on Thursday. The NCAA men's selection show just ended about roughly 45 minutes ago, and they have made it and they've done what they do. So let's go ahead and go through this real quick. Let's talk about the number one seeds. You got the Houston Cougars. Even though they lost today to Memphis in the AAC championship game, they still hold on to a number one seed. You have the Kansas Jayhawks, Big 12. Even though they lost the Big 12 championship to Texas, they are number one seed. You got Purdue Boilermakers, who won the Big 10 as a number one seed, and the Alabama Crimson Tide is a number one seed out of the SEC, and they are the overall number one seed. And Bama will be in the South region, which, in my opinion, I think that does give them an advantage. Now, your number two seeds, you have Arizona Wildcats, who did win the Pac-12 over UCLA. You got the Texas Longhorns, who won the Big 12 championship over Kansas. You have UCLA, and you have Marquette. Those are your four number two seeds. Now, your number three seeds, you got the Baylor Bears out of the Big 12. You got Xavier. You got the Gonzaga. And you got Kansas State, another team out of the Big 12, as your number three seeds. Number four seeds, you got Virginia. Out of the ACC, you got Indiana out of the Big 10. You got UConn out of the Big East. And you got Tennessee out of the SEC. So those are your number four seeds. Your number five seed, you got Duke, who won the ACC championship over Virginia. You got them as your number five seed, and then you got your number six seeds. You got TCU out of the Big 12, and you got Kentucky out of the SEC. So those are some of the seedings for the men's tournament. Now let's go down through here and see what the selection committee did in the first round. Let's start with the South region. Again, you got Alabama, number one seed. They don't play again. They don't play into the second round. First round, out of the South, you got the number 8 seed Maryland Terrapins, and you got the number 9 seed West Virginia Mountaineers, number 5 seed San Diego State, number 12 seed Charleston. You got number 4 seed Virginia, number 13 seed Furman. You got the number 6 seed Creighton, number 11 seed North Carolina State, and you got the number 3 seed Baylor Bears and the number 14 seed University of California Santa Barbara. You got the number 7 seed Missouri, number 10 seed Utah State, and you got the number 2 seeded Arizona Wildcats and the number 15 seeded Princeton. And that is your South region matchups. Again, number 1 Alabama, the number 1 overall seed. They are in the South. Let's move to the East region. You got number 1 Purdue, who they face will be determined. Number 8 seed Memphis, and the number 9 seed Florida Atlantic University. Number 8 seed again Memphis defeated Houston in the AAC championship on Sunday. You got the number 5 Duke Blue Devils, who won the ACC. They will take on the number 12 seed Oral Roberts. Number 4 seed Tennessee Volunteers. Number 13 seed Louisiana. You got the number 6 seed Kentucky Wildcats. Number 11 seed Providence. And you got number 3 seed Kansas State. Number 14 seed Montana State, and the number 7 seed Michigan State, number 10 seed USC. That's going to be a really good matchup, in my opinion. And you got the number 2 seed Marquette Warriors and the number 15 seed Vermont. So those are your East seeds. Again, the number 1 Purdue is the number 1 seed in the East. Now let's move to the Midwest. Got number 1 seed Houston. I was kind of shocked they moved them to the Midwest. They're the number 1 seed in the Midwest. They will face the number 16 seed North Kentucky. Number 8 seed Iowa will face the number 9 seed Auburn Tigers. You got the number 5 seed Miami, the number 12 seed Drake. You got number 4 seed Indiana out of the Big Ten will face the number 13 seed Kent State, and the number 6 Iowa State, who they will face, it will be determined. And the number 3 seed Xavier will face the number 14 seed Kennesaw State. And the number 7 seed Texas A&M Aggies out of the SEC will take on the number 10 seed Penn State out of the Big Ten. And the number 2 seed Texas Longhorns, who won the Big 12 over Kansas, will face the number 15 seed Colgate. And that is, again, your Midwest region. Now let's move to the West region. They moved Kansas to the West. They're the number 1 seed in the West. They would take on number 16 seed at Howard. Number 8 seed Arkansas Razorbacks would take on the number 9 seed Illinois. Number 5 seed St. Mary's would take on the number 12 seeded Virginia Commonwealth University, and the number 4 seed UConn would take on the number 13 seed Iona, who is led by head coach Rick Pitino, who has been linked to be the new head coach at St. John's. That's just a rumor at this point. You got the number 6 seed TCU out of Big 12, who they will face will be determined. Number 3 seed Gonzaga will take on the number 14 seed Grand Canyon. Number 7 seed Northwestern will take on the number 10th seeded Boise State, and the number 2 seed UCLA will take on number 15 seed UNC Asheville. Again, that is the West region right there. So your number 1 seeds, again, Houston, who's going to be in the Midwest. You got Kansas, who's going to be in the West. You got the number 1 seed Purdue, who's going to be in the East. And you got Alabama, who will be coming out of the South. So that is your NCAA men's selection show. Again, this is going to be wide open, in my opinion. I think there is no clear-cut favorite, even with the number 1 seeds. I really don't. I know Houston is dealing with an injury to one of their star players. I think it's Marcus Sasser. He has a growing injury. He did not even play today in that championship game. So they got a couple of injuries they got to deal with. And I just think that, again, the men's game is wide open with the one and dones and the transfer portal that has changed the landscape of college basketball and college sports as a whole, women and men on that side. So I think that you can do your brackets and you can probably put a 10 or 11 or 12 seed. They could possibly make it at least to the Elite 8 or even the Final 4, in my opinion. That's just what I think. So it's gonna be exciting to watch. It's always exciting to watch March Madness with the men's tournament. And so it's gonna be we're gonna see what happens. So I'd like to know what you guys think. Make sure you get your brackets. Are you doing it at your job? Put it in the comment section. Let me know what you think and who you got in the Final Four, which will be played in Houston, Texas. So, a lot of us will be rooting for the Houston Cougars. It'll be cool for them to be able to play in the Final Four at home. So we'll see what happens. Now let's move on to another hot topic that's been really, really, really in the news. Ja Morant, Memphis Grizzlies All-Star guard, man. A story broke today. New York Post. They got pictures and video from that strip club that had he was in. Actually, he was in there twice. He was in there. The Grizzlies played a game in Houston, which they won, and they flew to Denver. They touched down. Ja Morant went to this strip club, and he basically he basically bought it out. He secured it for some hours, paid some money, was in the VIP, was getting his $50,000 of money all on the floor. He's getting the whole VIP treatment. That's what you do in a strip club. Well, this particular club decided to release this footage and this video, this stills to the New York Post, who posted it today. And now PowerAde has decided to pull their ads of Ja Morant because he just signed a mega deal to be their brand ambassador. Well, they pulled their ads with him. Um, he did brand this, I don't know if that was the reason. According to this article, they decided to pull their ads because of the Instagram live he did 2 days later after the Grizzlies played the Nuggets and lost. He went back to this club and he was in there and he brandished a gun. I'm sure all of you all have saw this. It has been plastered over social media. It has been in the national media. It's been talked about. It's been beaten to death. Yada yada yada. There's not much more to say about it. My whole take on this particular situation today, if with the strip club deciding to release this footage in this video, in my opinion, I think that was foul on their part. Last I checked, that is not against the law for a man or a woman to patronize a strip club. I think that should be private and kept private, regardless of if that person is a star or not a star. I think this strip club decided to chase clout, and it's funny because they had quotes from the owner saying how much of a nice guy that was, and how he did this and this that, and he was a nice young man. And then you go behind his back to which he probably thought was private, and you decide to sell the pictures to a media outlet to get paid. That's basically what happened. But I would say this to stars, and even if you're not a star, man, you got to be careful because people are always looking to get on and chase something to get paid. Uh, I think the big thing that Ja, you got to be careful. My thing is, we all know that most of these entertainers and athletes, they patronize strip bars, and we know that's a known fact with James Harden. James Harden is known to be one of the biggest strip club patronizers ever. But I ain't never seen no video of him or pictures of him in the strip club. I haven't, and I could be wrong, and there's probably some out there. But I think that as a club, if you got somebody of that stature and they come in, don't disrespect their privacy like that. If that's what they do, that's what they do. They ain't hurt nobody, ain't against the law. So I just think this whole thing with this particular club in Colorado, I think it was kind of disrespectful. I think I feel some type of way about that. But I also know that on the flip side, as a person that's in the limelight and you're an athlete or entertainer like Ja, you got to be careful the way you move, man, because everybody got cameras, everybody got an ulterior motive, and this isn't a good look, obviously, because PowerAde decided like, yo, this isn't a good look. So we gonna pull him from our ads, which we're gonna start airing on Tuesday. Those PowerAde ads was gonna start airing on March 14th during the NCAA tournament and all that. So now they trying to do damage control. Now Ja is like, okay, now you may be losing a major endorsement, even though you didn't really do anything wrong in this particular instance. because again, he was just doing what young guys do, in my opinion. But man, now you got to figure out how you can't move like that now because of the way the media is set up and social media is set up. So and he got bigger fish to fry. My thing is, man, when you doing you the leader of a team, you got to lead in a certain type of way. And Ja, again, he's 23. He ain't no baby, but he's still young. We all was 23 before, and we probably did some stupid stuff, and I get it. But I still got to hold him accountable too. So he got to start moving in a different way. That's all I got to say. There's got to be somebody in this camp that say, man, you got to start moving differently, in my opinion. So I like to know your thoughts on this Ja Morant situation. I also like to know your thoughts on the men's tournament about to jump off on Tuesday. Who you got? Is it wide open? Is there a favorite? I don't think there's a favorite. I think this is wide open. I think anybody can win this thing. Make sure you drop that in the comments. Let me know what you think and who you picking. You doing a bracket? Let me know about that. Also, make sure you let me know how you feel about this whole Ja Morant situation that has taken over social media and the national media as well. Make sure you drop a comment on that. And it's the Oscars tonight. I don't really watch the Oscars, but I know a whole lot of people probably gonna be interested in it because of what happened last year with the slap heard around the world. So the Oscars are jumping off tonight as well. I believe who's the host? I think it's Jimmy Kimmel. I think it's Jimmy Kimmel is hosting the Oscars tonight. So I'm sure there's going to be play by play about the. No, it's not Jimmy Kimmel. It's Jimmy Fallon, I believe. I think Jimmy Fallon is the host of the Oscars. So I'm sure it's going to be a whole lot of people doing their play-by-play on the Oscars just to see what happens. I don't really watch the Oscars like that, so it doesn't matter to me. So you can even put that in a comment. So is there going to be another slap at the Oscars? If you think if who let me ask you this: if there would be another slap at the Oscars, who would be doing who would you see slapping one another somebody at the Oscars? Put that in the comment. I'm just making stuff up at this point. At, at this point. So anyway, this has been a Kendrick Sports Hustle live report. I'm Kendrick. That's SPORTZHUSTLE. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already done so. You all have a great rest of your Sunday evening. If something breaks, I will break in and let you know about it. So you all have a good one. I'm out. Deuces.